Welcome back to a Deluxe Derek Extras exclusive. This is where we give you content that you can't get on the regular Deluxe Derek channel. Content like this that's gonna put me over the edge. I'm assuming this is gonna compete with Mr. Beast and all the great content he's been putting out. Yes, I am one of the people that have maintained their DVD collection, and not only have I held on to these plastic discs, but I've been adding to it over the years by going to thrift stores, garage sales, and buying some rare DVDs that I can't find online. Now you might ask yourself, why would you burden yourself with dozens of pounds of plastic discs? And I say, because I don't trust the streaming services, and in the future they could remove movies that you'd like to see, or movies that they've deemed to be too controversial to have on their streaming platform. Having a physical copy of something is not necessarily a bad thing. Although DVD collecting has seemed to gone down over the years, it is a format that has lasted longer than almost any other format I can think of, besides records. And when you think about it, the collection doesn't take up that much space. I have my whole collection in 3 large binders. A lot of these movies I've never seen before, and some I have seen and love. But either way, it was a cheap collection to accumulate, and I'm happy I still have them. Well, let's start at the beginning. Point Break, never seen it, but I like Keanu Reeves. Patriot, classic movie, one of my favorites. Beowulf, never seen it. This is the director's cut, must be good. I'll Be Home for Christmas. I don't remember who's in that, but it's a Christmas movie, so it must be good, and it's Disney. We have The Blind Side. I'll probably never watch it, but if I ever want to, it's here. Crash. It won an Academy Award. I think I saw it a long time ago. It was pretty good. Here we go. Exit Wounds. This is Steven Seagal and DMX. Geez, I should watch that. Never seen it. Overboard. I think this is a comedy with Ben Stiller. It's probably funny. Mr. Deeds, classic movie, very funny. One of Adam Sandler's rare good movies. We have here Van Wilder, the unrated version. That must be really wild. I haven't seen that one yet. Here we have How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Now, as I go through this collection, you'll notice there's a lot of chick flicks. And say what you want about them. Some of them are good. Some of them are good. Not all of them. Marley and Me. I don't intend to watch this, but if I ever want to, it is here. Unfaithful. This looks intense. Haven't seen it yet. The Producers, a very good remake. I like this. This is a good movie. Reservoir Dogs, a classic Quentin Tarantino movie. Garden State, haven't seen it. A lot of people like it. It's probably good. Planet of the Apes, excellent movie. I actually like this remake with Mark Wahlberg. Robin Hood, Men in Tights. This is a comedy that a lot of people consider a classic. And I thought it was okay, but I didn't grow up with it, so I could do without it. In Time, Justin Timberlake and this other chick. I did see this once. I think Justin Timberlake's actually a good actor, regardless of what people say. Loser. Didn't see it. Looks like a classic early 2000s comedy. Then I have some DVDs in my collection like this, where it is literally 5 movies on one disc. And I've seen none of these. But with titles like this, you can't go wrong. I Eat Your Skin. Zombies vs. Strippers. The Last Man on Earth. Daughters of Darkness. Destined to be Ingested. Here's a movie, P.S. I Love You. I don't intend to watch this, and it looks pretty stupid. Here we have a classic, Rush Hour. Rush Hour, classic movie. Could not be made now. Here we have Disney's Up, another classic. We have James Bond film here, The Living Daylights, with, what was this, Robert Daltrey? Something like that. And then here we have the original Space Jam, which is another classic film from the 90s. Pan's Labyrinth. It looks too scary for me. Trainwreck is actually... Okay, I don't like Amy Schumer. I wish she would just stop doing everything, but this movie is actually pretty good. Here we have Cold Creek Manor. Don't know much about it, but it has Dennis Quaid, Sharon Stone. And here's another 5-film masterpiece. 19 Doors, Empty Rooms, Evidence of a Haunting, Wes Craven, Don't Look Down, Dark Spirits. 42, The Jackie Robinson Story. I saw this in theaters. It's a very good film. It's a good depiction of what happened. Fun with Dick and Jane, and Guess Who. Wow, what a classic matchup. Hoodwinked, full screen, never seen it. It's probably okay. I don't know. It's for children. The Grudge 2, not for children. I saw the first one. I haven't seen the second one. I got to check that out. Here we have Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. I don't even know how many of these movies they made, but someone must have liked them because they kept making them. Here we have Robert De Niro in City by the Sea. Say that 10 times fast. Well, sometimes he makes good movies and sometimes he doesn't. This could be a bad one because I haven't heard of it. Under the Tuscan Sun. Looks like another chick flick. Here's a movie called Namesake. And unfortunately, I don't like DVDs like this where you can't tell anything about the movie by looking at the cover. It's just a generic orange cover with some foreign writing on it. We have Ben Stiller, The Heartbreak Kid. And then we have this kind of DVD, which is irritating because you have to look really close to see what kind of DVD it is. Now, if we look close, we see this movie is called Wild Wild West. Wild Wild West. That's one of my favorite films growing up. Here's a movie called Buying the Cow. I know nothing about it. Looks like a 90s movie. White Noise, a scary movie. I don't know anything about it. Okay, this is going to take a while. Here's Rudy, classic 90s film. A Beautiful Mind, another classic movie. The Kite Runner. I think it's an older movie. I don't know much about it. X-Men Origins. That's where it all started. It's the origins. The Incredible Hulk. I don't know if this was the good one or bad one. I can't remember. They made two of them back to back. I Am Legend. Classic. Will Smith gets his shine on. The Sum of All Fears. Good movie, I think. Tropic Thunder. Literally one of my favorite movies. Could not make it nowadays, but it's an excellent, funny movie. Here we have Jack Nicholson About Schmidt. I forget what happens there. Van Helsing is actually a good movie. I like it. Good action movie. Minority Report, a classic Tom Cruise action film. Sex and the City, the movie, widescreen. Well, I haven't seen the series, so I feel like I gotta watch every episode before I delve into this movie. Here's a John Travolta film called Basic, which describes John Travolta's acting style very accurately. Definitely Maybe. Looks like a chick flick. Mel Gibson, Payback. This is when he was making really good action movies. Wild Things 2. Looks like a seductive thriller. Sully Sullenberger. It was a bit boring. I watched it. The Huntsman. Winter's War. Don't remember. The Big Wedding. Damn, that looks boring. I might throw this away, actually. This looks boring as hell. I'm going to get rid of that. That's out. I don't even know who those actors are. Secret Window. I think that has a good actor in it. Here we go. The Black Knight. The Black Knight. That looks funny. Martin Lawrence riding a horse. Here's a classic 90s movie, Atlantis. I don't think it did as well as the other Disney movies, but that's okay. Semi-Pro. I actually liked it, but it didn't do well in theaters. Along Came a Spider, a thriller with Morgan Freeman. That's got to be good. I should watch that. Armageddon, classic catastrophe film. Black Sea, I have no idea what this is. Black Sea, I don't know what this is. This could be anything. I wish it had more stuff on the cover so I could figure it out, but that's okay. Here's another movie, I have no idea what it is, called Black Hat. What the hell is that? Untraceable. Looks like another thriller. What About Bob? Bill Murray. This is actually an underrated movie. I like that one a lot. I think I watched that on Netflix, but I have it here on DVD if they ever take it off Netflix. Here's a movie called Breakout. No idea what it is. Here's Turbo. Well, we can tell what that is, can't we? It's a freaking snail and he's racing. It's for children. But here's a racing movie not for children. It's called Gone in 60 Seconds, where they steal cars really quickly. Here's a movie called The Fall. Don't know what it is. House of Flying Daggers. Looks like an Asian action film. Excellent. The Number 23, another underrated film that I really liked with Jim Carrey. This is the unrated version, so maybe he's naked in it or something. We don't know. Hotel Rwanda. Very well done historical movie that I think everyone should be forced to watch. Here's a movie called Inside Out. I think that one flopped. Nobody liked it. Here's a movie called From Hell. I think that's a romantic comedy. Here's Wizard of Oz, a classic DVD that they've remastered to put in DVD format. Here's a movie called Change Up. I don't know anything about it, but it looks like at one point it was a rental movie. Here's a movie called I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. And this looks like it was taken from Video World, a local video renting store. Here's a movie called Wieners. And it looks like it stars Kenan Thompson from Kenan and Kel fame. Here's a movie, Valkyrie, which I also thought was underrated, and another great Tom Cruise action film. Here's a movie called Stealth. I know nothing about it, but it looks intense. A little less intense is The Country Bears by Disney. This is probably a good movie. And here we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. They're so nice they had to make it thrice. Right next to it we have Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles, Turtles Forever. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. This is the original. And I wish it had a different cover, but that's okay. Next page. We have a movie called Savages. Don't know what it is. Don't really care. Next movie. It's called 16 Blocks, and it has... Who is this? Bruce Willis with hair. That's probably not good. He's better in the movies where he doesn't have hair. Here's a movie called The Extra Man. Looks boring. The Hurricane, Collector's Edition. Don't know what that is. Jack the Giant Slayer, the animated film. Good movie. Johnny Depp in Alice in Wonderland. I actually thought this was better than people gave it credit for. Dragon 2, never saw the first one. I don't even know if I have the first one. Robots, that was kind of a dud as well. Next page. God damn, this video is going to take a long time. Next freaking page, man. Here we have iRobot, Will Smith, where he gets his shine on. I notice he takes a lot of film roles where he's the only starring actor and everyone else is a robot or a zombie. Here's a movie called Youth in Revolt. Looks like a 90s film. Here's a movie called Oh, don't know anything about it. Sucker Punch. Interesting artistic style. Final Destination, classic movie, and is horrible for someone who is paranoid like myself. Next we have the Dean Martin Celebrity Roasts. Well, that's not a movie, but it's entertaining nonetheless. And it's a great historical piece. Here's a movie called Open Water. I watched this a long time ago, and it's kind of freaky. Here's a movie called Hustle and Flow, which is a very unrealistic depiction on hip-hop. But for people that don't like hip-hop, this is what I think it's like. Next page. Here we have Loose Cannons. Dan Aykroyd and Gene Hackman. How could you go wrong? Never watched it, but maybe it's good. Here's The Princess and the Frog, another Disney princess movie. Requiem for a Dream by Darren Aronofsky. This is a very intense film. The Flight of the Phoenix. Looks like an old action movie. Oh, here's The Grudge. We have The Grudge 1. And I also have The Grudge 2. Excellent. Here we have some multiple films per disc DVDs. This one has Slipstream, Alien Contamination, Mutant, Warriors of the Wasteland, and Eternal Evil. This has My Mom's a Werewolf, The Hearse, and Lurkers. This one is Pulse, Space Hunter, and Cruel. Cruel. It's great for the Halloween holiday. Next page, All the Right Moves, is a football movie. Wow, The Page Master. This is a long-forgotten movie with Macaulay Culkin. It's actually good, and I remember watching this as a very young person. I didn't know I had that. That's cool. Here we have Henry VIII. Here we have Mallrats Collector's Edition. Here's a movie called Frequency, which I really liked, and that was a really interesting concept with Dennis Quaid and Jim Caviezel, who I'm actually related to, believe it or not. Yes, the guy that played Jesus. We have Saturday Night Live with Best of Chris Farley. If you're going to get the best of any SNL character, why not get Chris Farley? Here's another underrated film that I really like, Nicolas Cage, The Weatherman. Say what you want about Nicolas Cage, but he made some good movies. Not all of them. In fact, 80% are trash, but this is a good one. And here we have The Family Man, which I think is another Nicolas Cage movie, or I'm confused. Either way, that's fine. Here we have the X-Files movie. We have The War at Home. Don't know what that is. Joe Dirt. One of the most watched films I've ever seen. Joe Dirt. Here we have some rare DVDs. Streetball Classics Volume 2 and Streetball Classics Volume 2, the soundtrack. It is a movie with one of my favorite actors, Jake Gyllenhaal. And it's called Brothers. And it's an excellent dramatic film. Very intense and very raw emotion with 3 excellent actors. Here's a movie with a little bit less good acting called Must Love Dogs. Next page, here's a movie called Mystery Men, weird 2000s action comedy before the superhero movies became super popular. Next we have Alexander, which I didn't know was a Disney movie. Below that we have a movie called Enemy, which I know nothing about because the disc is so freaking generic. To the left of it we have a movie called Sorcerer's Apprentice, which is a Disney movie that I've never heard of, but I do have it and can watch it at my leisure. Next we have Red Dwarf, Disc One. So this is where it all starts. These are the 2 discs. Red Dwarf, I remember my dad really liked that. It's the comedy, British comedy, strange comedy. Here's a movie called Encino Man. Next to it we have Ice Age, The Meltdown. That's a classic Disney movie. Next frickin' page, we got Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith. What do I need to say about that? You already know. And what is this donut movie? That's the Simpson movie. Next to it we have Tron, the remake. No, this is the original. The original Anniversary Collector's Edition. Excellent. Then we have a workout DVD called Mahler's Aggressive Strength. It looked really intense and funny, so I picked it up, probably for pennies. Next to it we have Stallone, First Blood. This is the first Rambo movie? Question mark? But I have all 3 if I ever want to watch them. Rambo 1, 2, and 3. Jim Carrey's Series of Unfortunate Events. I think he did very well in this role, and I don't think anybody else could have done it as well as he did. Next page, we have something called The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I think is a British something. I forget. Iron Man. What else do I say about that? We have Jaws 1, classic film. One of the most classic films in movie history. Next to it, we have The Toy with Richard Pryor. Probably funny. I haven't watched it. Next to it, you see the smushed face of Bam Margera's father. We have the first 2 discs of the complete second season. That's a little piece of history there. Next to it, we have Thelma and Louise, the original power couple. And we have another disc from Henry VIII. Next page, we have 500 Days of Summer. This was a rental exclusive. Really? Okay, that's cool. The Fast and the Furious. This is where it all started. And now it just won't stop. The series that never stops. Below it, we have a movie called Twister, which I watched every time we had a substitute teacher. They would put on this movie for some reason. Next to it, we have War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, another excellent action film. Can he do no wrong? No, he can't. Next to it, we got V for Vendetta. Funny About Love. This looks like a Gene Wilder film where he's older. That's interesting. I would watch that. We have Frozen Ground with two of the best actors in the world, Nicolas Cage and Joan Cusack's brother. And we have Boyhood, which I've been meaning to watch, but I haven't watched it yet. But I own it, so I can watch it at my leisure. Next page. Wow, this is a blockbuster page. Look at this. Starting with Mean Girls. Classic comedy film from the 2000s. Independence Day, one of the most classic action films of all time. The Illusionist, which is not as good as The Prestige, but came out around the same time and has similar subject matter. Next to it is Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. I thought I already saw this. Maybe I have 2 copies. I might have to take that out. Next to it, we have Brokeback Mountain, a controversial film, 2 great actors, interesting storyline. Next to it, E.T., the Extraterrestrial. Saving Private Ryan, another Steven Spielberg film. Excellent. Here we have The Express, the Ernie Davis story. This looks boring. I don't know who Ernie Davis is. Probably an athlete. Next page, Night at the Museum, Battle at the Smithsonian. This is the sequel to the original. Here we have Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa. Don't know if I'll watch this. It looks kind of stupid. Below it, we have The Day After Tomorrow, an intense environmental film that shows the effects of global warming. Next to it, we have Frozen, classic movie. Didn't know I had that either. Next page. Wow, I've been meaning to rewatch these. John Ritter, Problem Child. This is the Tantrum Pack, which means it has Problem Child 1 and 2. Gosh, I should watch this again. I'm going to take that out because I'm going to watch that. Next page, we have Summer Catch. This looks like an early 2000s romantic comedy with Jessica Biel and Freddie Prinze Jr. That's got to be good. Below that, we have Much Ado About Nothing. Looks like a Shakespearean film. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Well, I got to brush up on the first one, and then I'll watch that. Can anybody say Harry Potter? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the movies. Well, they made more than 5, but I've got 5, so that's a good start. Then we have Pretty Woman. Good movie. It's considered a chick flick, but I think it's a pretty good film. More Than a Game, the classic LeBron documentary. What Lies Beneath. This is actually an intense thriller that I saw recently. Ratatouille, one of my favorite Disney movies. I think it's really well done and it's an interesting plot. Interesting and realistic plot. Here's Beowulf and Grendel. This is another version of the Beowulf series. I think this is maybe a European version. Below we have William Shakespeare's Midnight Summer's Dream. Next to that, we have another difficult to read DVD. It's called Blue State. Blue State. Don't know anything about it. Here's Black Sheep, one of my favorite comedies. It's very funny. Next to it, we have The Wedding Singer. That's a pretty good movie. Below that, we have Tommy Boy, and this is a special edition. This is the Holy Schneike edition. You don't find that every day. Tommy Boy. I like it even better than Black Sheep. Next to that, we have what has become a Christmas classic. It's the Elf movie with Will Ferrell. Next page. We have Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. I did not realize they made a sequel to this movie. I'm assuming Arnold's in both. Next to that, we have a movie called The Greatest, which has a very generic cover and don't know what it is. Below that, we have Mars Attacks, which is a very irreverent comedy film that I enjoyed very much. Next to that, we have a movie called Lansky, which I think is about the gangster, Lansky. Sherlock Holmes, another good movie with the guy, Robert Downey Jr. Below that, we have Avatar, which I've only seen once in my life, but it was a very good action film. Next to that, we have Bubble Boy, which is where Jake Gyllenhaal's career first began. And I think I've only seen it once or twice. It's a very odd and interesting movie. Above that, we have a movie called Abyss, which is a science-fi movie that I think was ahead of its time. Next page, we have Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. That's a Disney movie. Next to that, we have Vision Quest. What the hell is this? It says 1985. 1985, Vision Quest. Well, who knows what that is? It's very generic. Below that, we have Face Off, a classic, so bad it's good movie with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. Next to that, we have a movie called State of Play. Don't know what it is. Somebody look it up. Next to that, this looks like a piece of shit. It's called The Power of Few. And it has a bunch of actors that are struggling. Below that, we have Dave Chappelle live at the Fillmore, For What It's Worth. I don't know when this is. What year is this? 2005. This was after his hiatus from the Dave Chappelle Show. Here's 300, a classic film that I saw in theaters. Above that, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, a classic cult film that people love to this day. Next page, we have RV with Robin Williams, R.I.P. Robin Williams. The Exorcist, a movie that was ahead of its time as far as how scary it is, and revolutionary special effects. Below that, Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Well, I don't know if I want this one. This one looks not very good. I don't like it. Maybe I'll watch it one day. Next to that, another Robin Williams movie called Patch Adams, a heartwarming tale. Here we have Jurassic Park 3. Is this the one on the island, or is this the one where they invade San Francisco? I don't know. Below that, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, a classic comedy film. Here's another strange, long-forgotten Johnny Depp movie called Cry Baby, which I think is good. Inside Man, another really well-done action movie that has Denzel Washington in it. Next page, what do we have here? A River Runs Through It. I forget what that is. I think Robert Redford's in it. Next to that, we have Borat. Need I say more? It's Borat. It's funny. Very nice. Okay, below that, we have Monsters, Inc. The green guy and the blue guy in it. It's a classic Disney movie. You know about it. Here we have Cliffhanger, which is a action 80s movie. Next to that, we have Leprechaun 3. If you're scared of leprechauns, then don't watch Leprechaun 3. Below that, we have Platoon, a classic film, classic action film. Next to that, we have The Little Rascals. Above that, we have Star Trek Generations. I don't know much about Star Trek. Oh, these pages are blank. I still have more room for my collection to grow. Here we have a bunch of classic Clint Eastwood films. This was part of the Clint Eastwood collection. We have Magnum Force, Dirty Harry, Sudden Impact, and The Enforcer. Hey, I know the movie Sudden Impact. He wasn't in it. Anyway, we have Super Troopers, another classic film that people still quote to this day. Here we have The Fifth Element, where Bruce Willis is bald. Therefore, it must be good. Above that, we have We Were Soldiers, a Mel Gibson movie that people liked. And Secretariat, which I didn't know was a Disney film. It's about a horse. Here we have Titanic on DVD. We used to have Titanic on VHS, and it was split into 2 VHSs. Interesting fact. Here's a movie called Why the Towers Fell, which I've been meaning to watch, but I've always been curious why the towers fell. Below that, we have Legally Blonde 2, the sequel to the classic Legally Blonde 1. Here's another Harry Potter film that should not be over here. It should be with the other ones. Next page, we have Beverly Hills Cop. This was a classic smash hit for Kevin Hart. No, not Kevin Hart. Eddie Murphy. This was a classic hit for Eddie Murphy. He was so successful, he made a second one. Below that, we have Top Gun, which they're actually making a new Top Gun, so that's very exciting. Next to that, we have a movie called Gattaca, which I've been told is really good and I need to watch it. Next page, we have Good Luck Chuck. This is a story about a guy who every time he dates someone, they find the love of their life right after they break up with him. Here's a movie called Blue Crush. It's a surfing movie and it's for vapid, stupid people. Above it, Gone in 60 Seconds Director's Cut. I already had a copy of this, so I'm going to take this out because I remember I had a copy of that already. So that's going away. That's a duplicate. If you would like Gone in 60 Seconds, please leave a comment down below and I'll mail it to you. Here's a movie called Interstellar, which is a really good sci-fi space movie. Here's a movie called Distorted, which I have no idea what it is because the cover is so freaking generic. Below that, Jerry Seinfeld, live on Broadway. He's funny sometimes. He has funny quips. Next to that, we have a movie called Click with Adam Sandler. This is another rare, good Adam Sandler movie. Above that, 3:10 Yuma with 2 of my favorite actors, Russell Crowe and Christian Bale. Next page, Finding Neverland. This looks like the sequel to Titanic. Kate Winslet and Johnny Depp. Blonde Ambition, Jessica Simpson. Gosh, I wish she did more movies, but she doesn't. Below, Sausage Party, not for children, although it is an animated film. Next to that, we have American Beauty, a very good film, but it has an actor in it that I shall not name, and he shall be wiped from the history books forever. Next page, Dennis Leary. It's called Douchebags and Donuts. He's funny because he's mean. Next movie, Live by Night. I don't know what this is. Looks generic. Horrible Bosses 2. The first one was very good. I don't remember if this one was good. Here's a movie called Battle for Incheon. Operation Chromite. Don't know what it is. Looks like a war movie. This is a classic mid-2000s relic. It's about rap beef, and this is the sequel to Beef 1. This is called Beef 2, and if you're curious about the mid-2000s beef between rappers, this is a good pickup. Here we have a film called Red vs. Blue, which was an online series about Halo. That was a comedy, and it became very popular. Here's an action movie called The Foot Fist Way. It's probably a kung fu comedy. Here's Beef 3. 2000, Obama's America. Love him, hate him. You don't know him. That's probably talking smack about Obama. I got it just because I thought it was interesting. Below that, we have The Raven with John Cusack. He looks like he is Edgar Allan Poe. Here's a movie that I wanted for the longest, and I finally saw it at a thrift store. And I wish they had this in more places, or I had it on Netflix or something, but they never do. It's called Blast from the Past. And it has the chick from Clueless and the guy from Encino Man, and it's super funny. Next page, The Wolf of Wall Street. Classic movie. And it's so good that I had to leave it alone with no other movies by it, because no other movie can stand by it. Here's a movie called The Gift, which is a psychological thriller that I thought was excellent. Below that, we have a movie called Corky Romano, which a lot of people hated it. It got panned by the critics, and it was just tarnished. I thought it was freaking hilarious. And the guy from SNL is super funny in it. Next to it, we have a movie called Chinatown. Jack Nicholson movie that really put him on the map as a serious actor in Hollywood. Next page, we have Game of Thrones Season 1, Downton Abbey, the movie. I never watched the series, but maybe I can watch the movie and it doesn't matter. Below that, we have Basic Instinct with Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone. I think I watched it once, but I forgot. Next to that, we have a movie that's very similar. It's called Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen with Lindsay Lohan. I don't know what that is. I should probably throw that away, but it's a piece of history, so we'll keep it. Next page is called Flower et Garnet. It looks French, and it looks like it would irritate me. Next to it, we have a movie called Friends with Benefits, Justin Timberlake. It's probably good, I don't know. Below that, we have a movie called Africa Screams. What the heck is this? It could be controversial in this modern era. Next to it, we have a big Marilyn Monroe collection. She actually had some really good movies. She was excellent in The 7-Year Itch. One of my favorite movies that she was in is called Don't Bother to Knock, where she plays a person with mental issues. Don't Bother to Knock. She was very excellent in it. If you want to see her in a serious role, watch Don't Bother to Knock. Don't sleep on Marilyn Monroe. She's more than just a beauty. She's a good actress. And that completes my first book. Only 2 more to go. Here we go. We've moved on to binder number 2 with more classic films. In the sleeve here to the left side, we have a lot of different films. This is The Social Network, a stark look at the origins of Facebook. Battle Creek, it looks like the guy from It. It's probably good. Next, we have Glengarry Glen Ross, which, oddly enough, is one of my favorite films. Glengarry Glen Ross. A lot of classic actors in this. Alec Baldwin is excellent in it. The guy from Odd Couple is really good in it. Jack Lemmon. Next, we have Fight Club, another classic film. Mouse Hunt, another classic film. Wow, this is a good sleeve here. Mouse Hunt, really funny slapstick comedy. Next, we have Dudley Do-Right. That's a long-forgotten movie, and I have it forever on plastic disc. Ocean's 11, another classic film that we've all seen and all love. Above that, we have a movie called Black Mass. It looks really scary, and I probably never watch it. Okay, moving on to the middle, Bowfinger. Man, this is like my favorite. So here, Bowfinger, super funny. Next, we have The American President with Michael Douglas. Poseidon. This is the original, I think, from the 80s, and it's an action-adventure film. Above that, we have Eddie Murphy in The Haunted Mansion. A lot of people hated this movie, and I agree with them. Above that, we have Scooby-Doo 2, which is probably not good. Above that, we have King's Ransom, which I don't know what to say about this, and I don't know why I have it, but there you go, I have it. Above that, we have Labyrinth, a classic strange film with Bowie. Above that, we have All Dogs Go to Heaven, an original animated film. We have Fever Pitch. Who's that? Jimmy Fallon. And he's with Drew Barrymore. And it's actually, they happen to film this movie on the year that the Red Sox won the World Series. So what great coincidence for them. Next to that, we have a movie called... Can't even see it. Sorry. Here's a movie called The Hangover, which is a classic comedy film. I don't care what you say. It's a classic. It'll be heralded as a classic forever. And I own it. Forever. Above that, we have Catch Me If You Can. Classic film with Leonardo DiCaprio. One of my favorite Stanley Kubrick films. It's called The Shining. And it has Jack Nicholson in it. And I still have not uncovered all the secrets that The Shining has to offer. This is a classic film. It'll be analyzed for decades to come. Let me adjust this shit. Damn it. Here we go. We have Jackass, the movie. This is the first one where they were young and justified to be stupid. Now that who knows what they're doing. Next to that, we have Honeymoon in Vegas. I don't remember what that is. Under that, we have a movie called Spies Like Us. Don't know what that is. It's probably good. We have Chasing Amy, which is Ben Affleck and Kevin Smith joint film. Over here, we have Paul Blart, Mall Cop. Oh, this is both of them on it. Wow. What a double whammy here. Mall Cop 1 and 2. Next to that, we have a movie called Identity. It looks like a action thriller. Below that, we have a movie called Stranger Than Fiction. It's a Will Ferrell movie that takes him out of his normal comedy element. Next to that, we have Not Another Teen Movie and Zombieland. Well, that's a good double disc. Zombieland's really good. Another teen movie's okay. What do we have here? 28 Days Later. And this is one where the zombies run, so it's terrifying for people that don't like zombies. Next to it, we have an Oliver Stone film. It's called Wall Street. That's another Michael Douglas film. The Day After Tomorrow. Another harrowing tale of the effects of climate change. Next to that, we have a movie called Romy and Michelle's High School Reunion. I think my sister really liked this movie. But there you go, I have it. If she ever wants to watch it, she knows where to get it from. Next page, we have Snakes on a Plane. Get these mother freaking snakes off this mother freaking plane. Samuel L. Jackson. Next to it, we have The Artist, which I think is that silent movie that won the Academy Award. Above it, we have The Departed, which is a very classic film. Some of the best acting you'll ever see out there from Jack Nicholson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon. Next to that, we have Year One, which is a very funny, silly comedy. We have another classic, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which I saw a lot as a child, and it was amazing. It was amazing special effects, and it was a great undertaking by the director. Next to that, we have a movie called The Hip Hop Witch, which I think is a weird comedy scary movie. What is this? I don't know. I think Eminem's in it. I saw clips of it. I haven't watched the whole thing. Below that, we have a movie called Just Cause. Don't know what it is. Next to that, we have a movie called Casino, a classic gangster flick. On the other side, we have another classic movie, The Great Outdoors. Dan Aykroyd and John Candy. Very funny movie. I've probably seen it 10 times. Next to that, we have a movie called 30 Minutes or Less. Below that, we have two great Earnest movies. Ernest Goes to Camp and Ernest Goes to Jail. Well, I'd rather go to camp than jail, but Ernest did both for us. Here we have another controversial film. This is called Ernest Goes to Africa. That's right, Ernest went to Africa. Did you remember that? We have another movie I've seen like 10 times called There Will Be Blood. You can watch it a million times and glean something new from it every time. Next to that, a movie called Double Jeopardy, which is a classic thriller that I haven't seen. Below that, we have a movie called The Sweetest Thing. It's a comedy with that one chick. Next to it, we have Starsky and Hutch. It's got Snoop Dogg, Ben Stiller, and the guy with the broken nose, Owen Wilson. How could you go wrong with those three actors? Well, you could, and this is proof, and I own it, Starsky and Hutch. Next page, we have Anchorman, Will Ferrell. Classic movie. This is the unrated version that you may never be able to see on Netflix. This is the unrated and uncalled for version. Maybe they have racist stuff in it. Who knows? Below, we have Joe Dirt, which I have in my last book, but you know what? That movie means so much to me, I don't mind having 2 copies. Next to that, we have a movie called Signs. Mel Gibson and M. Shyamalan joint. Very good film. One of Shyamalan's best. Can he get back to his greatness from Signs? Who knows? Above that, we have a movie called 1941, which is a comedy movie with a lot of SNL alum. And I actually thought it was super funny and I really enjoyed it. We have Day of the Dead, a classic zombie movie. Next to Dawn of the Dead, another classic zombie movie that I don't know if I've seen. Below that, we have a movie called District 9, which is a metaphor for immigrants. Next to that, we have a movie called Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise doing NASCAR. Who doesn't love that idea? Next page, we have a movie called Rookie of the Year. I wish I had a better cover, but it's just looks like a blank disc. It's called Rookie of the Year, classic 90s comedy. Next to that, we have some of Michael Jackson's last days in a documentary film called This Is It. And this was it, because this was the last DVD he made. And it was leading up to the days of his performances. Unfortunately, he would never perform because he died. Below that, we have a movie called Reign of Fire, which I think Christian Bale's in it. And I don't think it's very good, but that's all right. Next to it, we have Jumanji with Robin Williams, a classic action comedy film from the 90s. Next page, we have a movie called Dr. Dolittle. So Eddie Murphy strikes again in Dr. Dolittle. Next to that, we have a movie called Friday. Below that, we have a movie called Next Friday, which is about next Friday. And then next to that, we have a movie called Friday After Next. So there was 3 Friday movies, all getting greater and greater. On the next page, we have Christian Bale and the one guy that is Wolverine. And it's called The Prestige. And this is the better of the two. Between The Illusionist and The Prestige is the one to watch. Below that, we have a movie called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, a classic comedy film with Steve Martin and John Candy. Next to that, we have Charlie's Angels. I could do without that, but it's in my collection if I ever want to watch it. Above that, we have a movie called Bridesmaids, which is a very funny comedy film, mostly female cast. We have a movie called Maid, which is when, what's his name was actually funny. What's his name? Below that, we have a movie called Hands of Stone, which I think is Usher playing the boxer. Is it that movie? Next to that, we have School of Rock in Orange County, a classic double feature. These movies came out around the same time. Above that, we have a movie called Black Snake Moan, which is Samuel L. Jackson and the one chick. Wednesday Addams. On the other page, we have here the Three Stooges, which, say what you want about the Three Stooges, some of their stuff is funny. And I'll prove it to you if you come over and watch some of these DVDs with me. Next page, we have Goldmember, one of the worst Austin Powers movies with Beyonce. Next to that, we have T2. Below that, there's a movie called Frantic. Don't know what it is. The disc is too generic. Next to that, we have a movie called Casino Royale, which is one of the best James Bond films for this actor. On the other page, what do we have here? We have Old School. This is Will Ferrell running around naked, which is always funny, no matter what. Below that, we have a movie called Aliens vs. Predator, Requiem. Next to it, we have a movie called The Dark Knight, which is a classic and one of the best Batman films of all time. Above that, we have The Dark Knight Rises. Next page, we have a movie called Komodo. Don't know what it is. If you know, please tell me in the comment section. Next to that, we have a movie called Toy Story 3. It's pretty good. The end gets a little intense, huh? With the fire and everything. Whatever. Below that, we have Ladder 49. John Travolta, Joaquin Phoenix. It looks like a fireman movie. Never seen it. Next to that, we have Russell Crowe, A Beautiful Mind. Classic film. I think it won an Academy Award, maybe. Don't quote me on that. Next page, we have Hollywoodland. This looks back at the classic Hollywood tales of, I think, the 30s or 40s. Below that, we have a movie called Meatballs. I forget what that is. Next to that, we have Breakfast Club. This is a classic 80s movie. A coming-to-age movie about teenagers and their emotions. Above that, we have a movie called Boogeyman, which I'll never watch. Too scary. Next page, we have Bruce Almighty. This is a funny movie. If you're curious what Jim Carrey's like when he turns into God, then watch this, Bruce Almighty. Next, we have Final Destination 2, another horrible film if you're a paranoid person. Below that, Master and Commander. I saw this in theaters, and it was very intense. Great action, but I don't know, the plot I could do without. We have a movie called Dirty Dancing. Patrick Swayze and the other chick. And believe it or not, they actually didn't like each other and did not get along when filming this movie, Dirty Dancing, although it's considered a classic. We have a movie called Stepford Wives. I actually think it's very funny and very well done with the mostly female cast. There's a movie called House of D with Robin Williams. I know nothing about it. It looks like he could be playing another special needs person, perhaps. Next to that, we have Ghostbusters 1 and 2. These are the originals, and these are classic films. Ghostbusters 1 and 2. We have Mr. Holland's Opus, which we had to watch a lot in music class, and it was very boring, and I did not like it, and I resented every time they made us watch it. Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. Classic trifecta. Oh, here's another controversial film. Now, I do not stand behind what happens in this film, but this is a film that is in my collection because it is a piece of history, and that is all. Above that, we have a movie called The Cable Guy, and it has Jim Carrey. It's super funny. Next to that, we have Piranha. Don't know nothing about it. Wayne's World. Dr. Seuss, Horton Hears a Who. We have Gladiator. Classic action film, Russell Crowe. Dumb and Dumber. Memento with Guy Pearce. I don't know, I heard it's good. Who knows? Here we have a bunch of Beavis and Butthead stuff. Who cares? Next page, we have Corpse Bride. Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. Here's a paranoid film about what really happened on 9/11. It's called Fahrenheit 9/11. And I also do not stand behind what they say in this. Just an interesting piece of history. Below that, we have another copy of Armageddon. We're going to get rid of that because I already have a copy of that. I don't need two. Here's a movie called Coraline, another Tim Burton-esque film. Next page, we have Napoleon Dynamite, classic film. Started out as an indie film and gained traction and became very popular in pop culture. Below that, we have another copy of Fight Club. Well, I like that movie a lot, so I'll keep 2 copies. Next to that, we have Without a Paddle, which I think is a very underrated comedy film with 3 very funny comedic actors, Seth Green, Dax Shepard, and the other guy. Above that, we have a movie called Vanilla Sky, another great Tom Cruise action film I highly recommend. Next page, we have a movie called Men of Honor, another classic film that I think won an Academy Award. Next to that, another classic children's film, Charlotte's Web. We have Cloud Atlas, which I think is a Tom Hanks movie that flopped at the box office. Is a movie called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, which I think should have won an Academy Award if it didn't. Great and interesting film. Here we have a movie called Valkyrie, which I have 2 copies of. Very excellent movie, but I already have it. Alvin, if you want a copy of that, please write me in the comment section. I'll send you Valkyrie on DVD. Next to that, we have Alvin and the Chipmunks, Chipwrecked. If you're a fan of Alvin and the Chipmunks, you gotta watch Chipwrecked. Above that, American Gangster, Denzel Washington. Jay-Z made a whole album based on the aesthetics of this movie, American Gangster. Next page. A movie called Drive, which is an intense movie. Actually, it's not intense until the end, where he kills 1 million people. Next to that, it's called Movies. Below that, Mark Wahlberg in The Italian Job. Next to that, we have Caddyshack, another classic Bill Murray comedy film that really got his career jump-started. Next page, we have Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Need I say more? It's one of the biggest blockbuster hits of all time. Below it, Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones, with a really excellent DVD cover, which I appreciate. Here we have Tom Cruise's Jerry Maguire. Below that, we have South Park, the movie, bigger, longer, and uncut. Here we have a movie called Disturbia. And I think this is the one with Shia LaBeouf when he was actually making films and not doing weird stuff with paper bags. Next to that, we have a movie called Hitch. Will Smith at maybe the peak of his popularity in a movie called Hitch that everybody loved. Below that, we have Beauty and the Beast, 25th Anniversary Edition. This must be the animated film. Next to it, we have another Beauty and the Beast, which I think is a different version. This could be the German version. Next page, we have Star Trek the movie, which I think is done very well. Uncle Buck, another classic John Candy film, a classic movie of the 80s. If you haven't watched it, you need to. 10 Things I Hate About You, which was filmed, excellent film. Next to that, we have a movie called For the Love of the Game, which is a sports film, and I don't know anything else about it. Next page, we have Predator, full screen, Blair Witch. This started out as an independent film and gained a lot of traction and became very popular. It was filmed with a handheld camera. Here's a movie called The Notebook. It's a chick flick. 4 Weddings and a Funeral, that's a British comedy, and I think it's very good. Here's a movie called Wall-E, which shows you the future of our planet Earth if we keep behaving like we are. Here's a movie called The Big Lebowski. It's a classic movie and it's very funny. You could watch it a million times and never get sick of it. Here's another copy of The Producers, which I already have, so I'm gonna donate that to charity. So check your local Goodwill and maybe that'll show up. Here's a movie called This is Spinal Tap, one of the first mockumentaries about a rock band. Very funny, and it started a long line of mockumentaries. Here's a movie called Red Eye. Don't know anything about it. Here's I Am Legend again in widescreen. We already had this movie. Throw that out. Here's a movie called Capote, where Philip Seymour Hoffman perfectly embodies Capote, who was a true crime writer back in the day. And he has a really interesting accent. Here's a movie about the downfall of Hitler that I haven't watched, but I already know what happens. Spoiler alert, he dies at the end. Here's a movie called Major League 2. Here's a little-known sequel of Little Mermaid called Ariel's Beginning, if you're curious about her beginnings. Here's a movie called LA Confidential. Here's a movie called Patriot Games. It's another classic thriller. I would recommend it to everybody in the world. Here's a movie called Walk the Line. Watch that movie. Star Trek Generations. I don't like Star Trek, but I have the movie if I ever get into it. Here's a movie called We Are Marshall. It's another movie that's also a movie. Here's a movie called Chris Rock, Bring the Pain. Slumdog Millionaire. Remember when this movie was popular? Here's a movie called Grease. This is the Rockin' Rydell edition, so it's even better than the original. Next page, we have Dumb and Dumber 2, spelled T-O, because they're so dumb they don't know how to spell T-W-O. Below that, we have The Grinch, Christmas film. Here's a movie called The Sixth Day, which I think is Arnold Schwarzenegger when his career was waning. Next page, we have This Is the End, a very funny Armageddon movie that makes fun of Hollywood and the end of the world and super funny. Here's Varsity Blues. Here's a movie called Drumline. This is the rise of Nick Cannon. You can thank Drumline for that. Here's Die Hard, a movie where Bruce Willis, I think, is bald, so it's a good movie. Or maybe he was going bald. Good enough. Next page, we have Friday the 13th. Walking with the Dinosaurs, the movie. Here's a Rain Man movie. That's Tom Cruise, and this is very good. I think it won an Academy Award. Here's Hoodwink 2, Zoolander, which is short for Derek Zoolander. A very funny movie that takes shots at the modeling community. Legally Blonde, which I already have. So we don't need this. Check your local Goodwill. We have Moulin Rouge. That's a good movie, huh? It's a musical. Next page. Oh my God, there's so many movies. There's a movie called Invincible, Mark Wahlberg. It's a heartwarming tale about 5'7" Mark Wahlberg being in the NFL. Here's The Polar Express, another classic Christmas movie. Dark Shadows is a remake of a TV series from the 60s with Johnny Depp. Here's a movie called Due Date. I forget what it is. I think it's a comedy. Here's Denzel Washington, a classic film called Training Day. If you want to see him be mean to other people, watch that movie. Here's a movie, Road to Perdition, which I haven't watched, but it's Tom Hanks. How can you go wrong? And here's Men in Black 1 and 2. Need I say more? Everyone in the world has seen Men in Black. Next, we have the Rocky series. We have Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Rocky Balboa. Rocky 1 is very good. Rocky 2 is okay. Rocky 3 is bad. They're all bad except the first two, and the second one's okay. Here's a movie called The Few Good Men, Jack Nicholson, classic film. Here's an underrated movie with Ice Cube in it called Three Kings and George Clooney. You didn't think they did a movie together? Well, they did. It's called Three Kings. Next page, When Harry Met Sally, a classic romantic comedy. Before Billy Crystal started to look weird and Meg Ryan got all the plastic surgery. When Harry Met Sally, simpler times. Here's another movie called The Sitter. It's a comedy movie with Jonah Hill when he was fat. Here's a Cliffhanger Special Edition. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Dazed and Confused. This is when Matthew McConaughey first got started. It's a classic cult comedy film. Here's a movie called Hard Target and Time Cop. Time Cop. I know nothing about it. Please tell me in the comment section. Next we have Gangs of New York, a classic film with Leonardo DiCaprio and your boy, the one guy. Hey, if you guys like this video, please like and comment down below, or consider subscribing and hit the notification bell. It really helps my channel grow. Thanks for checking me out, guys. Here we go. We have all the Superman movies from the 70s. Superman 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the superhero movies that got everything started. You got to thank these superhero movies. Thank you, Christopher Reeves, RIP. Next page, we have Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and The Two Towers. Oh, no, not Two Towers, The Fellowship of the Ring. Here we have a movie called Eagle Eye. Here's a movie called Failure to Launch with Matthew McConaughey. It's a romantic comedy where Matthew McConaughey is like 40 years old and he won't move out of his parents' house. It's pretty sad and pathetic. Page, we have The Terminator. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger flick. City of Angels. Don't know what it is. Wish it had some art on the disc, but unfortunately it doesn't. Here's a standard Batman movie. Here's another copy of Mark Wahlberg Invincible that I'm going to donate, because who needs 2 copies of The Invincible? I hardly need 1. Next page, we have a movie called The Great Escape, classic action film from the 70s. Here's Mel Gibson in Braveheart, another classic film from the 90s that I think won maybe an Academy Award. Here's The Muppets Take Manhattan, where Miss Piggy and Kermit take over Manhattan. Maybe they have a Broadway show, I don't remember. Here's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, one of the most classic Christmas movies of all time. Merry Christmas to everyone, if you celebrate that kind of thing. We have Scarface, Al Pacino, a movie that wasn't super popular at the time, but gained popularity over time. Very good action movie if you like cocaine. Next to it, we have a movie called The Public, which I don't know what it is. Here's Platoon, a great war movie that deserves all the credit that it does receive. Here's X-Files, I Want to Believe. Is this the movie again? Or is this a newer movie? I don't know, but I have it. Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2. Here's Birdman, a very strange movie, but one of a kind movie. Here's a movie called Crazies, which is a crazy, violent movie that I probably won't watch. Next to it, we have a movie called Australia. I think that has Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman in it. Here's a movie called Memoirs of a Geisha. Here's another controversial M. Night Shyamalan Mark Wahlberg movie. It's called The Happening. A lot of people did not like this movie. They said the plot was weird and the acting was weird. But I thought it was interesting, at least. The plants are trying to kill us. Below that, we have a movie called The Perfect Murder, which maybe shows you how to commit a perfect murder. I don't know. Movie called Glory. I think that's a Civil War movie. But this one's actually funny. This is Jennifer Gardner. It's called 13 Going on 30. Here's another copy of Final Destination. I think I have 2 of these, but we'll leave it in there for now. Here's a movie called Speed 2. That's right, Speed 2. This cruise ship, I think, is in trouble. And the only one that can save it is Keanu Reeves. Or Sandra Bullock. I don't remember. Here's another copy of Twister. It's a good movie. We don't need 2 copies. I throw that away. Here we have Toy Story 2, a classic sequel to the original. Here we have Friday the 13th and Friday the 13th Part 2. Good Halloween scary movies. Here's the original Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. That's where it all started. Here's the Poseidon Adventure, the original disaster movie. Below that, we have American Wedding, which is the sequel to American Pie. This is the unrated version, so you know it's good. How did we have another Braveheart copy right here? Well, it's a good movie, but check your local Goodwill. I'm donating it. Will Ferrell, the best of SNL. The best of Will Ferrell, SNL. Next page, we have National Lampoon's Last Resort. This looks like a burning trash fire, but that's okay. It could be funny. It's an 80s movie, and it looks goofy. Below that, we have The Jungle Book. That's a Disney movie. Next to that, well, there's no title on this, but it looks like Saw. Above that, we have Santa Claus, another great Christmas movie that I think should be considered a classic. Next page, we have Van Wilder. I believe we already saw that, so we're getting rid of that. That's going to be donated. Here's 2 Weeks' Notice, another romantic comedy with Hugh Grant and Sandra Bullock. Next to that, we have Miss Doubtfire, a classic Robin Williams movie that I've seen 1 million times. Above that, a movie called There's Something About Mary, another classic comedy film. We have Full Metal Jacket, Stanley Kubrick film that is not my favorite Stanley Kubrick film, but very well nonetheless. Below that, a movie called Employee of the Month with Dane Cook, back when Dane Cook was doing movies. Can you imagine that? Dane Cook and Jessica Simpson? And Dax Shepard? And it's a Costco type movie? Hell yeah. Next to it, we have Caddyshack 2. Yes, they did make a sequel. Above that, we have Grizzly Man, where it follows the crazy guy that decided to live with the bears. And I think he got his comeuppance because he got eaten by a bear. Next page, a movie called Ted, where a teddy bear comes to life and is a pot smoker, and I guess it's funny. Below that, we have Fast Food Nation. This looks like it's trashing fast food and the way that Americans eat, which is hard to defend. Here's another movie, a sequel to the Die Hard series. It's called Live Free or Die Hard. Bruce Willis when he's completely bald. Above that, Red Sparrow, a really good movie, and it has the same chick from Hunger Games. Next page, we have Puff the Magic Dragon. I think this is the original cartoon movie. Here's Weird Science, a classic 80s movie that I would watch again. I've only seen once. Below that, we have another SNL alum in the movie called Superstar, a very funny movie. Next to that, Mel Gibson in a movie called What Women Want, where Mel Gibson can read women's minds, which is disturbing. That's disturbing plot. Here we have a bunch of war documentaries and films. And the last page of this book is Analyze That. Robert De Niro is a gangster who talks to his therapist and has a heart. Here's Galaxy Quest, a very underrated movie that I think is super funny and has what's his name in it? Tim Allen. Galaxy Quest. Me, Myself, and Irene. If you want to see Jim Carrey with split personalities, which he already has, then watch it in this movie. Resident Evil Extinction. Here we go, the third and final book of DVDs that I own. I hope you've enjoyed this journey and learned a lot. Let's start at the beginning. We have Tim and Eric's $1 Billion Movie. What a classic film that should forever be remembered. And here we have a bunch of Tim and Eric stuff. Here's Tim and Eric Season 1 and Season 2. Next page, we have Baby Boy. This is actually a good movie with Tyrese Gibson that I enjoyed. Die Another Day, James Bond film. Above that, a Disney movie called Into the Woods. Don't know anything about it. Here's a movie called Evolution, and this has the guy that was in X-Files in it. Next side, we have a bunch of Tim and Eric seasons and a bunch of Tim and Eric stuff. Next page, we have a copy of Mean Girls. Well, guess what? We already have that, so we're going to donate that as well. Here's a movie called Clueless, a classic 90s movie. If you ever wanted to know what the 90s was like, just watch this movie, Clueless. Below that, we have a movie called Sunshine, which is a very freaky sci-fi movie. Here's a movie back here, which is actually currently featured on Netflix. It's called The Net. It's a Sandra Bullock movie, and it has to do with hackers and the early internet. Here's a movie called The Godfather. This is one of the most classic films of all time, and is highly regarded as one of the classic movies of all time. Some DVDs I burned a long time ago. Tim and Eric Internet Footage, Volume 1 and Volume 3. Although the comedy is definitely not for everybody. Here's a movie called The Brother Solomon. A little known movie with these two comedic actors, which I think is actually a very funny and goofy movie. Next page, we have Let's Go to Prison, a comedy movie about going to prison. Here's Christmas Vacation 2. Oh, you didn't know they made a Christmas Vacation 2? Well, they did, and I own it. Here's another copy of The American Beauty, which is a good movie, but we already have it, so we're donating it. Here's a movie called The Last King of Scotland, a Forrest Whitaker joint. Next, we have Ferris Bueller's Day Off, a classic 80s film. If you want to know what the 80s was like, watch this movie. Here we go. Here's Cool Runnings, a classic Disney movie I've seen 1 million times. Here's a movie called Just Friends, which I watched again recently. Very funny Ryan Reynolds movie. Here's a movie called 1408, John Cusack. It feels like a fever dream movie. It's very spooky, but very well done. I enjoyed it very much. Next page, Narnia, Prince Caspian. Never watched it. It's probably good. Here's another Batman. Who knows which one? It just says Batman. Below that, we have a movie called Family Man, which we already have. We're donating it. Here's a dancing movie called Battle of the Year. Haven't seen it, probably never will. Here's another copy of Rudy. Guess what? We already have it. We're donating it. Above that, we have a movie called what? Curse of the Black Pearl. We already have it. We're donating it. Here's a movie called Wild Wild West. It has Will Smith and the other guy, and I thought it was very good. A lot of people didn't like it. And here's another classic movie that a lot of people claim is their favorite movie. It's called The Shawshank Redemption. It's a tale about a man being accused for something he didn't do and with life in prison, and it's just a really good emotional movie. Next page, we have Season 3 of Third Rock from the Sun. That's exciting. You can't watch that anywhere, can you? Well, I got it and I own it. And I'll own it forever until you take it from my dead cold hands. Next page, we have Dodgeball, a true underdog story. Very funny comedy movie. Below that, we have Reno 911, the movie. Talk about politically incorrect. Well, that's Reno 911 for you. Here's a movie called Half Baked. Dave Chappelle, before he was a superstar, he was in a movie called Half Baked. Above that is a movie called Swingers, which I think is a good movie. Next page, more Third Rock from the Sun. We have a movie called The Other Guys. Very funny Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell movie that I enjoyed very much. Comedy movie. Above that, we have a chick flick called Music and Lyrics, which looks stupid, and I'm not going to watch it. Hugh Grant. Next to that is a scary movie. It's called Frost. I don't know who's in it or what it's about. It's vampire. Commando. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, he's still making action movies, and yeah, he can still whip your ass. Don't get it twisted. Next page, Third Rock from the Sun. Here's a movie called A Merry Friggin' Christmas, which although it doesn't have Robin Williams on the cover, he is in this movie, and I believe it was one of his last movies of his life. R.I.P. Leprechaun 1 and 2. And guess who's in the first one? That's right, Jennifer Aniston, when she was young, before her nose job. Next page, we have Team America World Police. Below that is Jingle All the Way, which is actually a really funny Christmas movie that I consider a classic with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. Here's Samuel L. Jackson as Shaft. Yeah, who else would play Shaft? Maybe Idris Elba. Next page, wow, look at this. We got Flavor of Love. This is a rare sight to see. We have Flavor of Love. Was this season 1? Excellent. You can't find this anywhere. I'm sure VH1 tried to bury it, but guess what? I own it. And I watch Flavor of Love whenever I want. Here's another copy of Walk the Line, which I think we already saw, so we're getting rid of that. Here's a movie, American Psycho, with Christian Bale. He plays an excellent psycho, and it makes me wonder if he really is a psycho himself. Here's Hitman Unrated, based on the video game. Very good movie. Here's Patrick Swayze in Ghost, classic film. Here's a workout film with Ronnie Coleman. The Mr. Olympian winners, the biggest Mr. Olympian winners of all time, Ronnie Coleman. He's a legend in his own right. Next page, more Third of the Rock crap. Here's a Kanye West concert movie, his 808s and Heartbreak DVD film. Here's a movie called My Blue Heaven. Don't know what it is, don't need to know. Here's Dumb and Dumber on DVD. Next page, we have Paula Patton in Baggage Claim. Don't know nothing about it. Below that, a classic movie called The Goonies. I've seen that a million times as well. Here's a movie called Little Black Book with the one person that died too soon. Here's another... Okay, we just saw this. We definitely don't need 2 copies of that piece of junk. Here's Finding Nemo. What do I need to say about that? Really? Below that, a movie called Clue. Really good comedy film in the 80s. And it was based on the board game Clue. Here's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. One of the most classic movies of all time. And below that, another movie you can't get sick of. It's called The Sandlot. Here's Flyboys. It looks like, yeah, you know his name, Flyboys. It looks like the movie would annoy me and it's not very good. Here's a movie called Medicine Man. Don't know what it is, but that's fine. Here's Jackie Chan's First Strike. Maybe this was an early film in Jackie Chan's career. I don't know. Here's a movie called I Spy. It looks like an action movie. They're flying a plane. Here's Happy Feet, classic Disney movie that you've seen. Is it Disney? Here's a movie called Driven. It's about driving. Here's Step Brothers, a classic, another classic comedy film from Will Ferrell. And they make it look like a Christmas movie on this cover. Here's another zombie movie, Dawn of the Dead, which we've already seen. So guess what? We're going to chuck it. Get out of here. We're getting close to the end, guys. Here's a movie called Wimbledon, The Story of Us. Wimbledon. Here's The Perfect Man and Head Over Heels. Now, this is 2 movies on 1 disc. That's cool. Here we go. My Sister's Keeper, another chick flick with, what's her name? Here's Amistad. I believe that's a slave movie. Steven Spielberg. It's called Amistad. I haven't watched it. I probably should. Here's another copy of Frequency, which we already have. And here we go. Matrix 1, 2, and 3. I need to rewatch these because they just announced the sequel. It's going to be very exciting. Next page, we have Best Man Holiday. It's a Christmas movie. Don't know anything about it. Here's Gran Torino. It's a movie where Clint Eastwood plays a crotchety old man. Just like all the other movies. Below that, it's a movie called Morning Glory. It looks like an old movie, and I don't know anything about it. Next to that, we have The Butterfly Effect. The first one was very good. I don't know about the second one, but I have both here if I ever want to watch it. Next page, Paranormal Activities 1, 2, and 3. Too scary. I'll never watch it. And below that, we have a Will Ferrell movie with Zach Galifianakis. It's called The Campaign. It's very funny. Here's a movie called The Reckoning. Don't know anything about it. Maybe you guys like it. Here's a movie called Uptown Girls. It was a classic Brittany Murphy movie, but I never watched it. Maybe I will one day. Here's a movie called Coyote Ugly. Here's a movie called Dolphin Tale. Here's a submarine movie, U-571. Here's a classic 80s dance movie. It's called Footloose. And here's another copy of Monty Python's Holy Grail. Guess what? We already have it. We're chucking it. 007, Die Another Day. We already have this movie. Here's a movie called Saving Lincoln. Here's a movie called Tower Heist. I think this had Ben Stiller and it looks stupid. And I think it flopped. Here's a movie called The Outsiders. Don't know what it is. Could be good. Here's a movie, October Sky. I think that's Jake Gyllenhaal about the space flight or the rockets or something. Here's a movie called Analyze This. Here's a movie called The Firm. Is that Tom Cruise? Here's another copy of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Hey, you know what? Could be good, but guess what? I don't need 2 copies. Get out of here. Next page. Here's some DVDs that have, could be music videos. I don't know what these are. This side, we have Silence of the Lambs, Special Edition. That's a classic movie, National Treasure. Nicolas Cage movie that surprisingly did well. Here's Duplex. This is when Ben Stiller was just getting his movie career started, and I actually think it's super funny, Duplex. Above that, Santa Claus. It's a good movie. Don't know what this is. Power Moves. This looks like some homemade BS. Below that, Indiana Jones, the newer one with Shia LaBeouf. It's old now. Parental Guidance. Here's a movie called 9. Howard Stern, Private Parts, where he takes an inaccurate look at his own life, glorifies it, and makes it look better. Here's Mark Wahlberg and Max Payne, Unrated. That's based on the video game. Here's Soul Plane, one of the best Snoop Dogg movies of all time. And that's saying nothing. Here's Seabiscuit. If you want to see this guy on a horse, watch Seabiscuit. After Sunset, it's an action film, Brett Ratner movie. Here's Chris Rock in Bigger and Blacker. I could quote a lot of the jokes in this movie because I've listened to it a million times, but I won't do it. Here's Scary Movie 2, one of the best scary movie films. I could also quote that movie. It's very good. Here's Poseidon. We already have a copy. Get We already have that. Here's M. Night Shyamalan, Lady in the Water. This is when his directing career started to go down in the tubes, and he made Lady in the Water, and nobody liked it. Here's The Karate Kid. This is the special edition, so it has even more kung fu in it than before. Miss Congeniality 2. Yeah, so good they had to make a sequel. Next page. We have Enemy at the Gates. This is a World War II film, and I think it shows the Russian side, and it's pretty interesting. Here's another copy of Duplex. Great movie. We don't need 10 freaking copies. Here's Edward Scissorhands, the 10th anniversary edition. Very rare version of this. Johnny Depp is very good in this strange movie. Here's Wall Street, but this has a better cover than the other one copy I have, so I'll get rid of the other copy. Here's The Mummy Returns, classic action film with Brendan Fraser. Here's March of the Penguins. It's a documentary on how penguins stay together for a long time. Here's Shrek, the original. Big Mama's House 2. Oh, don't forget about Big Mama's House 2. I got it, and I own it for life. Last Action Hero. That was a big flop for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Here's a lot of people's favorite movie. It's called The Untouchables. It's an excellent film with Kevin Costner and the guy from James Bond. You knew him. It's like a DVD video game of Sherlock Holmes. No, I'm not going to play it. Spaceballs. This is Spaceballs. Here's a movie called The Terminal. It has Tom Hanks in it, and he lives in a terminal for a long time, and he eats ketchup and mustard on a cracker. We have another copy of The Karate Kid. We already have this movie. Get out. Here's a movie called The Beastmaster. I forget what it is, but I think I saw it a long time ago. Page. Ooh, Three Stooges galore. Look at this. We got the Three Stooges collection. And like I said, you guys might think Three Stooges is stupid and it's super old and it's in black and white and it's not relevant anymore, but if you like slapstick comedy, they are the originals. Here we have Minority Report. Guess what? We already have this. Get that out of here. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. Jake Gyllenhaal in a movie about a video game. We have Flashdance, Footloose. These are two great 80s dancing movies. Here's The Fly. It's a movie about a fly. Here's a movie about the Eagles football team, a tribute to the most passionate fans in the NFL, the Eagles. Here's a movie called My Best Friend's Girl. Looks like a romantic comedy. Here's a movie called Zulu I saw a long time ago. The British trying to hold a country in Africa, and there's a lot of battle scenes in it, and it's actually pretty good. Here's The Family Stone, a movie with the chick from Sex and the City, and a lot of people like it. Here's a classic comedy film called Office Space. Can you find my stapler? Please help me find my stapler. You guys know. Here's a movie called Strange Wilderness. Someone tell me in the comments what that is. I don't know. We got all the Star Wars, baby. We got New Hope, Revenge of the Sith, and that's it. Here's the Back to the Future trilogy, film that means a lot to me, and I've seen all three of them so many times, and I still don't understand how Marty and the Doc are friends. Why are Marty and the Doc friends? Can anybody tell me that? Please write it down in the comments down below. Thank you. Here's a movie called Stripes. Bill Murray joins the military. Hilarity ensues. Next page. Futurama, the movie. Never saw it. I'm sure it's trippy and very well done. Here's Night at the Roxbury, another funny SNL movie that I actually enjoy. Here's a movie called Kung Fu Panda 2. Here's Captain America. Next page, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. It's a great stoner comedy. And even if you're not stoned and you like White Castle, watch the movie. Here's Jarhead. Jake Gyllenhaal movie. Very interesting look at war. The psychological torment that it can put on a man. Anyway, here's Saving Silverman. A very funny movie. Young Jack Black and the guy from American Pie. Here's Skyfall, another James Bond film. And finally, we get to the last page of my DVD collection. What do we have here? King's Speech. If you have issues with stuttering, this might be triggering for you. And here we have a movie called Irrational Man, which I don't know anything about. And here's a movie, Hotel Transylvania, an animated film for the whole family. And finally, the last DVD in the collection, we have The Crocodile Hunter, Collision Course. This is a DVD about the legend, the hero, the man himself, the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin. So there you have it, folks. My whole DVD collection in 3 cases. Now, you might think I'm a fool for collecting DVDs still, but guess what? You're a fool. So forget you. When Netflix takes all these movies away from you, you'll have to come to me, and I'll rent you out these DVDs. You'll be begging me to watch Minority Report. You'll be begging me to watch Problem Child. You'll be begging me to watch Braveheart. You'll be begging me to watch The Producers on DVD. When Netflix only allows you to watch unoffensive movies that have no curse words in it, no racial stereotypes, and no heart in them, then I won't be a fool. I'll be the DVD master, and I'll be hailed as a wise man and respected by all my peers. So thank you for watching, and please like and comment down below. Hit the notification bell and subscribe. Deluxe Derek Extras. Thank you. Goodbye.